it's Maginers, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I thought that I would bring my mom back. She's back!
Hi, everybody!
I thought that I would talk more about spina bifida and how it has affected me and everything, and to bring mom back into it because it's a tradition. I have a few topics to go through so that you guys can learn more about spina bifida, and what better person to bring into this video than my mom, who pretty much is an expert. First topic I want to talk about is school accommodations and what that was like for me from elementary school, middle school, high school, and even into college.
Okay. Well, what we did is we met with part of the school staff every year. There was something called an IEP, Individual Education Plan. And what that means is that you have a unique plan that includes all the accommodations for your child. And it helps the instructors, the teachers, the staff, anyone to know, how can we help this person? How can we make them successful? And so each year it changed a little bit for you because you changed every year, right? You know, in the beginning, it was like in elementary school, it was things like help Gracie get to her locker and get all of her homework and everything together in her bag and help her get out to the bus. And so a few minutes before the end of the day, someone would come and meet Grace, and they would get all of her stuff and make sure she got out to the bus. And in middle school, another example was, since it was just more than one class now, she's going class to class to class, she was allowed to have extra time right before the bell rang so that she could get out and get to her next class. In high school, one of the accommodations was for her to go down to a room and have, if she was having a quiz or a test, they would have somebody read it to her. Because we found that, you know, test anxiety, reading comprehension, you know, things like that, she just needed a little help. And just having somebody sit next to her who she knew, who could just say, okay, here we go. And she would have a little extra time for her test too, so that it wasn't like, oh, I got to get this done, and I don't know, you know, I mean, that can be, for any kid for that matter, that can be very stressful. So those are just some of the examples that we came up with when we worked with the staffs.
So to dive deeper into more like educational part of having a shunt and having a disability and all of that, I did some testing at the Gillette Hospital. And what was that called?
It was called neuropsych evaluation. And it was, these weren't just psychologists. They were very specialized in pediatric neuropsychology, which was really cool because it was more about, instead of a psychologist saying, how do you feel about that? Does that bother you? Blah, blah, blah. It was more about, how does your brain work? And, you know, every kid is different. We've talked about spina bifida being the snowflake disease. Everybody's different. And so they would give these tests. It tested memory and reading comprehension and concentration and just numerous things. And it was all day long. I felt so sorry for Gracie because the first time she did it, she was just a kid, probably like 7, 8.
I would say 7 or 8,
and
yeah.
To have any 7 or 8 year old sit there all day long and look at pictures or cards or take a test and every once in a while she would come out with this look on her face like, I can't get back in there, you know, and after they would give her a break, give her a drink of water, whatever, but then right back in you'd go. And I think, you know, maybe that was part of it, to see how well she did, how long she could stick it out. But it was fascinating. And then the results would come out. You know, the doctor would look over all the data they collected and write up a report. And that's how we got the diagnosis of ADD or ADHD, and then a little bit of like test anxiety or issues with reading comprehension and things like that. So it gave us something to walk into the school with, to say, okay, do you see this? So this is what the test says, and so we need to concentrate on these areas, and then find some ways to help her so that she can succeed. Because we can't just say, here you go, and put her in a classroom with everybody else and say, well, why isn't this working? Well, because her brain does not work like everybody else's brain does. And so once we learned how to work with it, then we figured out how to have the school work with us so that she became successful.
They would stick me in a room with me across the table, and then the person who was evaluating me, across from me, and they would have like a notepad, which any room that you're put in with another person that you don't know very well who has a notepad, like it feels like a legit test.
Yeah, freaky.
And so that was already daunting, very daunting. And so having that was terrifying enough. And then there was no music, it was a blank, tiny room, and it was just very like closed in. And she would ask me questions like she would give me this diagram, and she would be like, make this diagram, this shape with these tiny little shapes that I'm going to give you. So it would be like make a parachute in this geometric way with all of these triangles.
Yeah, with blocks or like Legos or
right,
something.
Right. And there would be like triangles that I could work with, circles I could work with, rectangles, squares, but I had to put all those shapes together to make a dog or a hot air balloon or something,
It's that executive functioning of your brain.
Right, which for me, when I was younger, it was tons of fun, but then I realized what they were doing, and I was like...
This isn't a game. This is a tax.
I demand a refund. And then there would be other questions, like, she would read me a little paragraph, like a little prompt, if you will, of, like, a story, like, Bob woke up at 6 o'clock and went to the store. The store that he worked at was a hardware store. And then he left at like 12 p.m. to go to a doctor's appointment. What was a doctor's appointment for? Right. The doctor's appointment was for a surgery. And then it would say surgery on his knee. And then at the end of like that entire thing, she would be like, what time did he wake up?
Ooh,
and I'm like,
I wouldn't know that either.
I'm sorry. I just remember he went to the doctor. I just remember he went to the doctor and went to work. So it would be, I would have to, reiterate, right? Is that the right word? Reiterate exactly what I heard from the paragraph. And I would be like...
And that was it. These tests at the time seemed ridiculous. And wow, they're really pushing her to the limit. But it was amazingly accurate, the report that came back out. We the first time we saw it, we were like, wow, everything makes so much sense now.
Another part of the testing was they would give me a computer. They would flash like a bunch of different letters, and then I would be given a letter that I had to find. And I would have to press like the space bar, like, oh, if you see X, press the space bar, and it would flash and it would repeat, and I would have to click it multiple times if I saw the X multiple times. Something else that I did in school was figure out how to stop all the bullying. And so I thought that we could maybe go more into depth about what kind of process you had to go through, how you had to like prove that I was being bullied.
Okay. Well, first of all, I think you have to have a really good relationship with your child, of course, and make sure you ask them about their day. How was your day? What happened? What was great? What was not so great? And when you do this every day, it will just be natural for them to just kind of tell you the highs and lows and what happened that day. And so, Gracie every once in a while would say something and I was like, what? And of course, that's the last thing you want to hear about your child. And so we had a really good relationship with, all the staff at every school that she went to, including the principal and the administrative staff, because we were there all the time. She had a lot of absences for appointments and stuff. Anyway, so I picked up the phone, a number of times, and I said, this is what's going on. And these are the names I got. This is exactly what happened, blah, 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 blah. And they would say, oh. And I remember from day one, the school district that the kids were in they always said 0 tolerance for bullying, 0. And so, you never had to worry as a parent, well, should I even say that? Should I even report that? It's probably, nothing's going to happen. Oh, heck yeah, I reported it. So, and it wasn't just Grace, our son had some issues too. And so we reported those things too. But I always knew that if and when we reported it, that it was being taken care of because I followed up. And I wouldn't let them get away with, oh yeah, we took care of it. And I'd say, oh, how? I mean, what happened? And they'd say, well, we can't discuss, the punishment. And I said, no, I don't want to know the punishment. I just want to make sure that something was done and blah, blah, blah. Do you need any information? Do you want me to send you an email? Do you need something in writing? Do you want me to come in? Because I can come in, make an appointment. We can talk about it. I was a little relentless, but I'm her mom, I'm her parent, I am her biggest fan. And so of course I'm going to make sure that the stuff gets done. And I did. Of course, it's my child. And so I want things to be done. And I also want the other kids involved to learn that is not how you treat people. It's gotta stop.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. Thank you, Mom, for coming back again. We love having you here.
Thank you.
Make sure to like and subscribe. Comment below what you want my next video to be. Stay positive and be kind. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!